pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. The records reflect that all the supervisors are present this morning. We've got a little adjustment in the agenda just to make it flow better for our guests today. After the scheduled sessions, we are going to move the study session for the zoning ordinance for the wind energy and the solar in front of the closed session. So you won't need to stand around for an hour while we have a closed session. So hopefully that meets with everybody, and then we'll do the budget study sessions after the closed sessions. All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the adjustments.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion is carried. Moving on to the scheduled sessions. Joe Munch, President, Pottawatomie County Trails Association. Discussion and/or decision to sign letter of support for Pottawatomie County Trails Association to secure financial grants for the construction of multi-use trails connecting our community. And I understand that Joe is not able to be with us today,
Correct.
but Brian Shea, who is on that committee, is going to speak.
I helped start that committee like 12 years ago, and building trails is very tough, and funding is very, got a lot of loopholes and stuff. What we're looking at now, we've got a certain amount of money, and what we want to get is a letter of intent or support from the board to help us with some grants, and we've hired a grant writer, and there's some very exciting stuff happening with this. So we, as a committee, are just asking that we, as a board of supervisors, have a letter of support for us so we can send that with our grant applications.
Right.
Okay.
So you're not asking for any money, you're just asking for a letter of support.
Correct.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Scott.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion by Belt, second by Jorgensen, for the county supervisors to provide a letter of support for the Trails Association. Is there additional discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you very much,
Thank
Brian.
you.
All right, next on the agenda, we have Al Wagman, trustee clerk, Lewis Township, discussion and/or decision to hold more than 3 meetings for Lewis Township. And I told Al he did not need to be here this morning, that I could speak on his behalf. He was here on October 10th, 2023, and we approved for Lewis Township to meet 12 times a year, or up to 12 times a year, just because of the nature and the uniqueness of the Lewis Township division. But after we approved Resolution 09-2024 in the first meeting in January, it set them back to 3 meetings per year.
Oh, okay.
So we need to, and last week Neola was in and we approved them for up to 4 meetings per year. So we need to approve Lewis Township again for up to 12 meetings during 2024.
Will that be a yearly thing we have to do?
I think we need to, yes, I think we need to adjust our regular resolution that we do in January to include Lewis Township
Okay.
for the additional
Regular
sessions.
housekeeping.
Right.
Okay.
I think
Good
there's a
move.
better way to do that.
I'd make a motion to approve their meetings up over 3 and up to 12, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So you're amending the motion here to read 3, from 3 to up, no more than 12.
Correct.
Okay. I'll second that.
All right, so we have a motion by Shea, second by Bell, to approve Lewis Township to hold up to 12 meetings per year. Additional discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Mark Ekman, Executive Director, and Emma Schwaller, Council Bluffs Convention and Visitors Bureau. And we have an update on Potawatomi County tourism.
Okay, well, Mark asked me to kick this off since I was one of the original promoters of it, or board members. We just had a meeting this morning. Brian and Jeff were there, and these nice little
Thank you.
handouts.
Okay.
So a little bit of history. Mark, let me give a little bit of history. And Tim might remember in 2001 or 2, Bob Mont, who was president of the Council Bluffs Chamber, came in and gave a proposal on partnering then with the CVB on countywide tourism. And you remember, Tim, when he came in, they were asking for a lot of money, and we just kind of, and it was several years later, I think Cindy Thompson, who was the Mark Shoemaker's executive assistant, she must have been on the CVB, but then she kind of started promoting it. And I think it was in 2008 that we started this program. Scotty, you were on the committee for a while, weren't you?
Yes.
And so in 2008, you weren't here. I don't know who the other committee person was, but in the county. But it's just been a really good program, and I think the City of Council Bluffs, the CVB, and the small communities have really benefited from this partnership. So that's a little bit of the history, and I'll let Mark take over now, and then.
No, you turned to object.
Yeah, I should have done that before I started talking.
Or would you like to get my reading?
You getting them, Melvin?
Huh? It's warming up.
Oh,
It's in the yellow.
the tubes are turning on?
Yeah. Getting a little glow now.
As that's saying, I just want to point out a couple of things that's in the pocket folder. On the right-hand side are the publications we're going to talk about here in a few minutes. And then on the left-hand side is a copy of the PowerPoint slide should we have a technology issue. And of course, that never happens. On cue. So as Melvin just reported, the committee's been in operation since 2008, and certainly some conversations before that. We meet on a bi-monthly basis, and we had our January meeting right before this particular meeting. You can see we draw representatives from across the county in a lot of different roles. In terms of accomplishments, we certainly want to report out to you on an annual basis as to what we've been doing, and certainly have engaged in some new activities this year. And I think have had a very positive effect on the county. First of all, we did a partnership between the committee and the CVB, center that, of a shoulder season marketing campaign. We've worked with Mitch to make this possible. We obtained a $10,000 grant from the Iowa Tourism Office that then was matched by $35,000 from the Convention and Visitors Bureau. And what we did is basically get out there and try to invite as many people to come to the county and spend their leisure time, and with that, their money, in the spring and the fall. It's not peak season, it's a time where we really have to aggressively go after potential visitors, and we did that with digital marketing. Long gone are the days back when I started in this industry when you picked up a magazine, you called an 800 number, you waited 2 to 4 weeks to get a brochure or a guide, and then started planning. Now that planning can happen at any free 10, 15 minutes you might have in the day, where you go on your phone or your laptop and you can start searching for different things to see and do. That's what this is all about, is getting digital ads out there. There's a couple of examples of some banner ads that we've placed in the spring and the fall. Through this process of placing ads through Google and Facebook, we created in the spring, for instance, more than 2.1 million impressions with those ads that then led to them clicking on those ads and going to a landing page all about different spring activities, or in the fall, what happens in autumn in Potawatomi County, and there's quite a bit actually. through that process, they look at the content that Thomas Waller puts together in terms of different things to see and do, and that spurs that trip planning to Potawatomi County. So we were very appreciative of this opportunity. The committee obviously also kicked in some dollars for these two campaigns, but it was very successful. I'm going to hand it over to, was it Melvin? You were going to talk a little bit about the museum tour, the first time project of the committee this past July.
Oh, yeah. It came up with Gail Strickland out of the Oakland Museum, and I think Ruby Bentley was involved from the two museums, Macedonia and the Evoca Museum. And I guess, when did they have this? Just last fall?
July
July.
16th.
And I guess it was a real hit, and the people went to all these various museums. Did you attend any of it, Susan?
I was not, but it's my understanding there wasn't enough time to be every place.
No, it was a short time frame to visit all those, 5 or 6 museums. And they had, in Macedonia, they had Terry McLean was acting as Guido Stempel, talking about his experiences traveling the country, getting the birds for the Stempel Bird Museum. And I guess according to Ruby, I didn't get to any of them, but according to Ruby and Gail, it was a real hit, and I'm guessing they will probably do it again.
They were particularly satisfied with it. I had a chance to go to the Nishna Heritage Museum as well as the Pioneer Trail Museum. And like we were saying, there were reenactors there. There was a nice flow of traffic. They were so gratified that they started planning the 2024 tour almost immediately. So I know that they had some plans to kind of do a reverse tour for each one of them to see the others museum before they organize the 2024 version. But yeah, there's plans underway. We're looking forward to hearing what they have in mind for, I believe it's going to be July 14th. For this year because of leap year, so you can stay tuned for more details there. Going on to the next slide, brochures and inspirational guide. Craig Carlson, who's going to talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Inside your folder, there are 5 different pieces of printed material that we go through CTM to distribute to local hotels and attractions to promote different things to do in our county. One of those 5 pieces is the new double-sided pamphlet that kind of promotes trails on one side and Mount Crescent on the other, providing supreme opportunity to promote those things seasonally. Obviously, skiing in the summer is a little different in Potawatomi County, and riding your bike can be different in the wintertime too. So providing that opportunity seasonally is kind of neat, especially in confined spaces where our printed materials are distributed. Sometimes there's not as much space, so being able to just flip that and keep that spot is pretty nice. Those pieces go in hand with our Stars and Bronze Tribute Trail that highlight our military appreciation. Those are the Eagles of Honor and Freedom Rock information on those exhibits. The West Nishnabotna River Water Trail, and then a map to highlight those things. And then you've got the Council Bluffs and Potawatomi County Inspirational Guide. Emma worked really hard to, previously it kind of been segmented between, you've got your Council Bluffs stuff and your Potawatomi County stuff and separated. She had kind of made a point today to kind of explain that her vision was to integrate that a little bit more so that Potawatomi County is highlighted in a few different spots, not just at the end, but sporadically throughout the guide. Along with the places that, we use CTM to distribute this information, really happy about the new opening of the new courthouse edition. Happy that there's a new spot to continue to distribute this kind of information. And then I think I speak on behalf of the entire committee. We appreciate the support from the board and the county to provide a supreme opportunity to drive people to explore Potawatomi County through those digital displays and really highlight the great things to do in Potawatomi County.
Thanks, Craig. That takes us to the next slide, and this would be some of the print advertising that we've have done or are planning to do, and I'm going to turn that over to Emma.
Yeah, so every year we place an ad in the Travel Iowa Guide, which is a very popular travel guide for the state of Iowa. So these are usually joint ads between the Council Bluffs CVB and the Potawatomi County Tourism Group. So the 2024, they've been doing 2 guides per year. They'll do seasonal guides, but this year they're switching to just one guide. And so we actually have a 2-page spread ad, and so that's what you're seeing right here for the 48 hours in Potawatomi County. We're doing a new approach where instead of just placing an ad, come check out our website, we're actually giving them an itinerary, 2 full days of things you can do in Potawatomi County. So look out for that guide. It's an awesome guide, and we're really excited to have such a prominent feature in it in 2024. And then the smaller ad was what we had in the fall and winter Travel Iowa Guide promoting Mount Crescent. And then another big way that we communicate with potential visitors is through our social media. We've got a pretty solid Facebook following, 7,000 about, and the most fun thing that we do on our social media every year is we give away a kayak to promote activity on the West Nishwaatna River Water Trail, and then we also do an Extreme Wheels gift card giveaway in the past where we are promoting our recreational trails. These are really popular and a really fun way to engage people and remind them of some of the fun outdoor recreational things we have in our backyard. Some exciting things. So our website is obviously our main vehicle for getting our information out. In the past, we've had the waterwayia.com URL, but we've simplified that this last year, so now it's just waterway.com. We just received a $10,000 marketing grant from the Iowa Tourism Office. We will be using that money to revamp our website, redesign it through Neapolitan Labs, which we're really excited. That's just one of the things that's part of doing business in tourism is your website has to be up to date, easy to use, user-friendly, and all that stuff. So we're really excited to do that. And then the big fun thing about our website is our calendar of events. So any event that happens in Potawatomi County that is open to the public can be submitted to the Waterway website. We've got this really robust calendar of events. So we are always wanting to help get that word out, though, to our small communities that this is a great way to get your word out about your upcoming events. So that's kind of our goal in the next year as we revamp the website, is to kind of refamiliarize our residents with this website, encourage them to submit to the calendar.
So to wind up the report, it's always nice to report some good news in terms of visitor spending being up. And according to Tourism Economics, this is a group that the Iowa Tourism Office contracts with on an annual basis. They just got the results for 2022. It takes about a year to compile the results, but spending by visitors traveling at least 50 miles or farther went up 6.8% in Potawatomi County. It's more than $329 million over the course of that 12 months. Again, that's $329 million spent in the county during the course of 2022. It's the 5th highest in the state. Only Polk, Lynn, Johnson, and Scott counties have a higher amount. That means that Potawatomi County outranks Woodbury, Dickinson, Story, Blackhawk, and Dubuque County. You know what cities and places are located there. So we're not doing too bad. Being at the intersection of I-29 and 80 does pay dividends when it comes to visitor spending, and certainly being across the river from the city of Omaha doesn't hurt anything. With that, I want to express the committee's thanks for the support that you provide to us on an annual basis. If the board would be so inclined to indulge me just a few more minutes, I do want to give you a little bit more information on the Council Bluffs CVB. And with that, I'll give you the annual report for fiscal year 2023, like I did last year, just to update you a little bit on our activities since we worked together so closely.
Thank you, Mark.
We had a very good year. I'm certainly not going to go into all the details of this report, but it gives you a pretty good idea of the things that we did over the course of the year. If you open it up on page 3, you'll see that Mark Shoemaker has some comments. He's halfway through his second term as president of the CVB Board of Directors. We've always had a county representative on the board. That's been one of the unspoken requirements for participation is that we have somebody from the county representing, and in this case, it's been conservation since the CVB board was conceived about 10 years ago. With that, we also had some great news over the course of 2023 that you'll see on page 2. We brought home for the third time since 2017 the Outstanding Community of the Year Award from the Iowa Tourism Office for Council Bluffs, and then also brought home the Outstanding Event of the Year for Beyond Van Gogh, the immersive experience that was hosted at the MAC from June until September of 2022. It's worth noting that it beat out the Iowa State Fair for Outstanding Event of the Year. Along with that, Emma Schwaller, our very own Emma, brought home the Rising Star Award from the Iowa Travel Industry Partners Foundation last year for being a real rock star in terms of being a newcomer to tourism with some noteworthy accomplishments, which we certainly talked a little bit about here today. If you go to pages 4 and 5, you'll see a little bit of the analytics from our social media promotions that Emma puts together. Our analytics went up between 14% and 83% on some social data points. So certainly noteworthy there. And our website for the CVB, unleashcv.com, hit some historic highs over the course of the year. If you go to pages 6 and 7, you'll see a little bit more about the seasonal marketing initiatives that we've undertaken since the pandemic came up in 2020. And of course, going back to July, you'll remember my report out on the very first winter travel marketing initiative we did a year ago in support of the county's acquisition of Mount Crescent, and it went very well in terms of now having that hook to bring people into the county during the winter months. Conservation just did a rock star performance in terms of running that and getting it up and running in less than a year, and certainly made a difference with our analytics. Our marketing impressions went up 37.5% due to that additional marketing initiative, which meant that we created more than 7.18 million impressions with the digital ads that we put out over the course of the year. We also had a great year in terms of actually seeing more people come into Council Bluffs and spend some time. The city raked in a record amount of hotel and motel taxes at $3.4 million, a second consecutive year for record-setting hotel motel tax collections. We also had some noteworthy events that we were able to snag on pages 8 and 9. And then if you go to page 11, the thing that I would like to finish with is with some other awards. Some of you may be familiar with the Omaha Metropolitan Area Tourism Awards. When those were first held in 2017, 18, and 19, but were an in-person event recognizing staff. The pandemic forced us to pivot and change those up, and so instead of recognizing staff, we decided to recognize the best attraction, hotel, restaurant, and retail business in each one of the 3 metro counties. In 2023, we had an outstanding turnout in terms of nominations that came in for those 4 categories in Potawatomi County. In fact, we had more nominations in Potawatomi than Douglas or Sarpy. And then when the top 5 nominees were determined, we had a record amount of voting that took place. We outpaced the other 2 counties with 7,999 votes cast for those 4 different recipients that were determined through that voting process. And 3 out of the 4 award winners came from the rural part of the county. So the best attraction was the Dreamland Theater in Carson. The best restaurant was the Back 40 Bar and Grill in Macedonia. And the best retail business was the Occasional Collective in Trainer. Now, there was a bone thrown to Council Bluffs. The Ameristar Casino Hotel ended up being the best hotel. But through this process, we really, I think, engaged a lot of locals and visitors in realizing that we have some great things throughout the entire county, and employed Brian as a part of the recognition process by having him be videotaped congratulating the 3 rural winners. And then we put together a video that then announced the winners during National Travel and Tourism Week in May of 2023. Those winners were also announced through digital billboards through the metro. So with that, I think we've had a very successful year as both a county tourism committee and as a CVB, and appreciate all the support that the Board of Supervisors provides. And if you have any questions or comments, we'd be more than happy to respond to those.
Really finding out all the stuff you can do in this county is amazing. There's a lot to do, a lot of things happening every month, so
We're spreading the word.
it's,
Pass that on.
it's good. It's good. You guys do a great job. Emma, congratulations on your award.
So what do you speculate the increase in tourism will be for 2023 based on the additional motel taxes that were collected?
Well, that's a very good question, Susan. So, hotel motel tax are reported on a quarterly basis, and there's a website for the state where you can look and see where that information is. The first quarter of fiscal year 2024, we actually brought in $30,000 more in hotel motel taxes than the year prior during that record-setting year. So, the start of the year, very, very strong. However, we do receive weekly hotel occupancy, average daily rate, revenue per available room on the hotels in Council Bluffs compared to our comp set of Omaha, Sarpy County, Dubuque, and Waterloo. We're getting into a phase of the economy where we're facing more headwinds. There's less pent-up demand for travel. And so it's kind of hard to see that we're going to match the collections of the hotel motel tax side in fiscal year 24 that we saw in 23. So it's not going to probably surpass 23, but it's probably going to be more than 2022. So it's going to be a little bit of a, okay, people are adjusting, inflation is taking its toll, those kind of things are coming to bear.
Okay. Any other questions?
Well, thank you, nice job.
Good job.
Thank you.
I just kind of want to give a shout out to the partners, Wida, Stacy's not here, and Golden Hills RC&D has been with us since the very beginning. Ruby Bentley's always been a big promoter there for Macedonia, and Gail Strickland and others. So if it wasn't for the partnerships, I don't think it would be near as successful.
Emma, Greg, Mark, thanks.
I do like the video display in the lobby. Perhaps our Lewis Central students saw it when they came in this morning, and if not, maybe you'll notice it on the way out. But it really does fill out that space and looks really good. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have Deb Masker, Southwest Iowa Leadership Academy, presentation on the Southwest Iowa Leadership Academy and discussion and/or decision on funding for Southwest Iowa Leadership Academy. And it's my understanding that Deb Masker was called in to substitute teach today.
Yeah, she's been a regular sub at Underwood this year. She retired from Kern last year, and she asked us from Lewis Central to represent the Southwest Iowa Leadership Group today. So
All right.
I've been part of that program for the last 20 years. I did lead, she's taken a job of more of the financial, getting all the money secured for our camp each year. And then we have a couple leaders at the camp, and then we have 100 students from around the county. We represent the schools here in town, St. Albert's, Kern, Wilson, and Lewis Central. And then we also have Underwood, Tri-Center, and Trainer as part of our program. And each year we have 100 students come to a camp, and we're seeking funding for to help out with the camp budget. We had a couple students who are willing to share a little bit about what their leadership skills help them in outside of school. Does one of you want to share some?
Yeah, so we are involved in lots of activities to help show our leadership skills, like show choir, dance, band, choir, volleyball, wrestling.
Oh, it's a lot of stuff, and after the leadership camp, I really didn't realize how much I use leadership in my everyday life and how much I can really promote and help people because of it.
Then I don't know, a couple of them want to share about the things that we've done this year as part of leadership at just Lewis Central specifically.
At Lewis Central this year, our leadership group for 8th grade went to Titan Hill and Craft Primary School to help teachers with their students and work with them at recess and help them learn stuff in the classroom.
And any of the other things we've done, like yesterday?
If I could add on to hers too, helping teachers in the classroom just made their job easier at some points, to help handle kids or help teach them new things. But other things that we have done, such as yesterday, we went to Mount Crescent and Hitchcock Nature Center. And we split up into two groups. And my group went to Mount Crescent, and we just did some cleaning there for a couple hours. We did things such as wiping off shelves, wiping off and cleaning the boots for the skiing and snowboarding. We vacuumed some rooms. We cleaned windows. And although this didn't seem like much, it's helping another like company almost like it's helping
The community.
it's helping the community because it's helping the environment help.
And we've gone to a few other places, not necessarily involved with the county or the school. We went to Prairie Gate and did activities with some of the seniors there. We went to Horses Help, which didn't even know that existed, but it's a horse therapy place out just south of 92 on like 230th Street. And so we went there for a couple hours. We also we went to Omaha one time to do the Omaha Food Bank at the Timberlake Outreach Center. So we get out and get involved and try to help the community and get all these students interested in being a part of the community and being future leaders that are like some of the ones sitting behind us.
Good job.
And we're looking for, I think we've had some annual support. There is, I think, a report that was submitted by Deb Masker. I don't have that with me, but there was a report submitted by Deb, and we're looking for some support. So I don't know if you have any questions of any of the girls or myself.
When you went to the horse farm, did you have to clean there?
Yes.
I just
It
imagine.
wasn't as bad as they thought it might be. They did end with a fun activity, which I didn't realize they were going to, but they got to paint, like with a washable paint one of the sides of the horses and put their names on it and their handprints, and then took a picture with the horse too. So that's kind of a.
One of the important features of leadership is public speaking. Do you ladies have any chance to get up in front of people and speak publicly, get comfortable with that, and I'd like to hear that aspect of it, if you could.
Well, actually, we did a pep rally, and some of us organized some activities, and we had to speak in front of our whole school. And yeah, so that's just an example. But
Yeah, leadership is really good about getting kids out of their comfort zone, but Lewis Central is really good at that too. I'm part of the mock trial association, but it's like a club, and you like act out a courtroom, and I was a lawyer for that, and it was a really fun leadership kind of opportunity because you had to like take the role.
Also, not even for just a big event, but sometimes when you have to do assignments in class, if you have to present a slideshow, leadership can help you be able to present more often.
I want to add to that. So these activities that we've gone out and done, I'm not the one setting them up. I have the students. We have, from Lewis Central, we have 29, but there's no way we can bring them all today. But they take turns setting up the actual community service project. So I will fill out the bus forms and things that I need to do, but I let them take care of taking charge of planning all the activities, and then I support them in that if they need help. But they're the ones that plan where we're going to go and set up the times, and they take care of all of that. So that's the part of, and that way they'll be more likely to do it in the future when they don't have me around. So
Good job, ladies.
I was reading Deb's report, and there were a couple of things that came to my attention. And one of them, there was 100 students, and this was a sleepover camp. And that one of the requirements was there were no cell phones. And there were some students that showed up with cell phones. And I just wondered what your thoughts are on that. I mean, you had no problems giving them up, correct? I mean, it was one of the rules, that's what was expected. You came and abided by those rules. But as leaders, how would you encourage others to give up theirs as well?
I mean, you should just follow the rules that you're given. That's just, I think, something that everyone should always do. But it was also necessary, so, because I mean, cell phones are obviously a big distraction, and that really helped us get close to our base group and our leaders, and just we made new friends, and it was really fun.
Sorry. Yeah, to add on to that, I know some people are really attached to like their parents or like they don't like being away from them for a long time, but you're so preoccupied with other people at the camp, and yes, like being with your base group, and we did a bunch of group activities with them that didn't require having your cell phone or anything.
I feel like at the end of the day, not everyone's always going to follow the rules. Like, it's kind of something that you can't help. But I feel like at the leadership camp, everyone was really wanting to be there and wanting to learn, that you didn't have the opportunity to be on your phone. You made these great connections with people from other schools, and everything was really hands-on. So there was really no need for a phone.
Yeah, to add on to what Alexis said, was there wasn't really time to be on your phone because the entire time we were working with our base group and talking and like working on solving problems and like doing things that would help us make us better leaders.
And even like with that, even if they wanted to be on their phones, it was so like we did so much for like the community and just to learn. There wasn't really ever any time, and we were all just so tired at the end of the day and ready to do more the next day. And we also had to apply to get in, so it's not like just anybody could go. You have to have the opportunity, and then we all took it and then applied. Which is
I think, how long has the program been around? I mean,
I think we're going on our 31st year. I've been doing it for 20 years. Deb came on quite a bit later. We have one lady from Underwood who's retired now. She started the program, but she's retired, so she's no longer with us. But I think this is coming up on our 31st year. Yeah. And we used to have a lot of support from the iOS Foundation, and that went away for the last, I don't know, want to say 5 or 6 years. They kind of went away from us completely. Their focus kind of changed for a while. We have been allowed to apply back to iOS last year and this year, and so we're getting some funding, but half of our funding used to come from iOS for probably the first 24 years. So it's been a rough last couple years, but we've been making it work. So yeah.
And this board has given in the past to this group?
Yes.
I think, yes, in
Yes,
the last
we have.
couple years, maybe it's been, I think, 2,500
That's
or,
what I
yeah,
remember,
something like
yes.
that, yeah.
and that's the amount that's requested today?
Is it,
Or that's-
I will make that motion.
I will second that.
we have a-
Approval of 2,500.
We have a motion by Jorgensen, second by Shea, to approve funding for the Southwest Iowa Leadership Academy for $2,500
Out of gaming.
out of gaming. Additional discussion?
I think what you're doing is really good, ladies.
One project you might consider is doing some shadowing of county elected officials and see what supervisors do, what goes on in the treasurer's office, and then it's a big, complicated outfit these guys are running here. So, you know, it might give these teenagers some ideas on maybe they could work in planning or the attorney's office.
All right,
Are
all, oh, go ahead.
Are the girls, you can allow the girls to introduce themselves? They're all
They
girls.
certainly may, yes, I'm sorry, yes, go ahead.
My name's supposed to. I'm Kenzie McCart.
I'm Alexa DeWitt.
I'm Madison Heatherly.
I'm Marian Arkfeld.
I'm Iris Fahrenkrug.
Thanks for coming.
What, and thank you for doing that. Could you give us what grades you guys are in?
They are all, so they're selected from all the schools that are involved at the end of the 7th grade year. They participate in the camp between 7th and 8th grade, and then they are part of the leadership program during 8th grade. So these girls are all in 8th grade.
8th grade.
Yeah. And then
Was
we'll
that middle
have,
school then?
and we have several back at school. We just couldn't bring them all. So.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion with the second. All those in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. I would like to have all of you come up and let's do a photo. Craig, do you?
Cool.
Appreciate you guys taking time out from school. get the added advantage of watching the visitation or visitors. Windows,
Come up here, ladies, and then
Yeah.
kind of face that way.
There we
Cool.
Supervisor Miller can kind of hide back there sometimes.
No.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've got to get back to class, so.
All right. It's always refreshing to see the kids. They're in good hands. All right.
Now we got that.
He's always upbeat like that, aren't you? Yeah.
All right. Next on the agenda, we have Mark Hanwright and/or Wayne Peterson, discussion and/or decision to extend submission of final plat for RMP 87 subdivision.
Yep, good morning Supervisors. We're here today. The preliminary plat for Wayne's subdivision on McPherson Avenue was filed on December 20th, 2022. The current code allows for 12 months from that date to file for a final plat. Had a few delays in the development process, but very close to being ready for that step. But of course have crossed the 12-month threshold, so just here to request an extension on that deadline. The street is paved, grading is near complete. We're ready to put in utilities in the ground. Weather, is a factor at the moment on that one. But working with the county departments, John Rasmussen, to get the street adopted and approved is our next big step, and then we'll be on our way to final plat and intend to be selling lots and hopefully building homes this summer.
How much longer do you need, Mark?
When talking with Pam, she's suggested just ask for a 12-month extension. We certainly we don't anticipate we're going to fulfill that entire 12 months, but just to save it from having to come before the board again, that was the recommendation.
Do you have any issues with that, Matt?
No, I would agree with that. I think an annual extension would be for the best.
I'll move that for you.
I'll second.
All right. Motion by Wickman,
That'll be 12 months.
second by Shea to extend the submission of the final plat for the RMP 87 subdivision by 12 months. Additional discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried, and I just realized we've missed Melvin.
He went to the restroom.
That's all right, Matt was our clerk for that. Matt, you? Yeah.
I did take good notes.
You knew where he was. You should have said something.
Was that E?
Yes, or no, F.
Yeah.
They took his.
No, it was E.
That was E, and who was the motion by?
Wickman and Shea.
Leadership for 12-month extension. Right out to see what.
Maybe he's gonna go through Beacon Zone.
He's recruiting new auditors.
Thank you.
When do you think you'll be paving?
The road's done.
Okay.
The road's all done, and we were just waiting on Mr. Rasmussen to come out and have a final look at the road.
Okay.
Make sure it makes his approval. HPM approved of it, and they were happy with it. They had the engineer there the whole time it was getting done, so.
Good. Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready to sell the lot.
Let's go.
And tell me again, how many lots?
The development will be a total of 12 lots. It'll be 11 new homes. One of the lots has an existing home on it.
Thought you were going to Lewis Central. We thought you went to Lewis Central with the kids.
No, I just got, Mark and Emma snagged me.
Thanks, Jana. You're welcome. All right, next up, Matt Wyatt, Director of Planning and Development. Discussion and/or decision to approve and sign urban renewal joint agreement related to RMP 87 subdivision.
So we worked with attorneys in Des Moines and the city of Council Bluffs to come up with a
urban renewal joint agreement, because the portion of this development lies within the 2-mile area of Council Bluffs, we have to sign a joint agreement with them if we're gonna try to do any kind of TIF afterwards on this. And the city of Council Bluffs did agree to the urban renewal joint agreement. It's going before city council on February 12th for them. One portion that I wanted to make sure I pointed out in this urban renewal agreement is on the second page, section 2. Any of the LMI proceeds, the city of Council Bluffs requested that any of the LMI proceeds from this go to them for LMI projects inside the city of Council Bluffs.
And that's 46% of our cut,
That is 46% of the total
the total.
portion of it, yes.
Okay.
It did increase just a little bit to just over 46% now.
So all 11 houses are in Council Bluffs district then?
No,
They're within the 2-mile.
there, just a portion of that ground hits the 2-mile
How
area.
many lots?
I think it's maybe one.
Northeast corner, ain't it?
It's just a
Or
very,
northwest.
a very
They get-
small
They
portion
just
of it.
get that house or they get,
No, they want all of the LMI proceeds that are derived from the development
okay.
to go towards an LMI project inside city limits of Council
Yeah,
Bluffs.
that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. I thought you said just with the property that was within the 2-mile limit.
No, it would be for the entire development. Any LMI proceeds would go to an LMI project, low to moderate income housing project inside city of Council Bluffs, which, would probably really be the only community that could, do something with that amount of money on it. So, it is just written in here that they will supply us, with the project information on there, and that we will then, that it meets all the LMI criteria from the state. We will then sign off on that, and then they get the funding for it. So that way we're covered on auditing purposes, and they get their money for the project.
So, I'll make a motion to approve, I guess, subject to the city council approving it.
Sure.
But we have to have their approval, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll second that for discussion.
All right, we have a motion by Belt and a second by Wickman.
Matt, when will we see a developer's agreement on this?
So that will be the next step.
Okay.
So they're working on the developers agreement on that, right? The attorney's working on that right now. It's just, first we establish the urban renewal area, but because this is within that 2-mile, we're gonna establish the joint agreement, establish the urban renewal area, and then we go to our developers agreement.
So,
30 days,
30 days?
give or take.
Okay. This agreement is specific to, this particular project?
Correct. The urban renewal area will only be the area of the development. It does not extend anywhere outside of that.
Are you done?
The legal description takes care of that for us, Matt?
Correct.
No, I don't have any.
We put some money into this, correct?
No.
Not yet.
Okay. I thought the tip was going to not go through on this one. Is that,
The city of Council Bluffs is signing off on it, so we will be able to do a TIF on this development.
okay.
Yeah. Mark and Wayne and everybody worked with the city to get them to agree to it, and they've agreed to it, so we will.
All right, good.
That's what we're taking these steps for now, is so we can establish the TIF for them.
All right, I'm good with that. Okay.
They haven't officially agreed to it. That's why I said.
Subject to,
the city council.
So until they sign it on February 12th,
okay,
that's when the city it'll go before them for actual approval and signature. But
So if they don't approve it till the middle of February, then you still think the developer agreement will be ready in 30 days?
I do, because they're still working on it at the attorney's office, so those steps they'll send us those steps.
Any other questions?
I'm good.
All right, we have a motion by Belt, a second by Wickman to approve the urban renewal joint agreement related to RMP 87 subdivision pursuant to the City of Council Bluffs acceptance. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Sign that letter. And next up, we have Matt Wyatt, Director, Planning and Development, discussion and/or decision to approve and sign resolution number 13-2024, amended development agreement with JJHP, LLC.
So this is for the development down off of Pioneer Trail, a developers agreement that went with that. We all know that we've had some struggles with, it's gotta have water to it in order for them to get the development to work out right. So we've been working with, they've been kind of going back and forth, and we're gonna have water, we're not gonna have water. So our timeline wise, from our original development agreement, we had to do some extensions back through here. And that's what we're here for today, is adding in more time to the developers agreement. And it starts top of page 3. We move that date out to 2027. Moving down that page, I wanted to make sure I pointed out on page 3, which is 4th paragraph down, the LMI rate has changed a bit. It's now 46.14%.
That was per the state.
Correct, that comes from
Yeah.
them, that's not what we said. Paragraph 7, the legal and administrative costs, we modified the language into that just to show that the county's paying 50% of that, and the developer also has agreed to pay 50% of those costs that get incurred from this. Page 5, the bottom paragraph, dates have changed there, October 15th to 2027.
Matt, can we go back to paragraph 7?
Yes.
So we're not doing the 15,000, the lesser of, it's a split of 50-50?
Correct. I had sent Jeanette the revised yesterday because the attorney didn't change it until yesterday. Mark agreed to it.
Reason being, we've already paid our 50% of the first 15,000. So what we're talking about now is administrative costs associated just with this. The original development agreement actually cost 15,500. We have reimbursed the county for our 50% of that already, which the new language reflects.
Okay, so the red line version that's in our packet is the outdated one.
Correct. The only change
Other
made
than
paragraph 7.
paragraph 7, yes.
We have a cleaned up version.
I have one here if you'd like it.
No, we've got the cleaned up version in the packet too. I just wanted to point out that it read differently. So if we go to, no, the packet is incorrect too. All right. So the changes you're talking about, we don't have in front of us.
That could, yeah, so it was a last minute change from the attorneys to get that language pressed in there for paragraph 7. So paragraph 7 reads as legal and administrative costs. The developer will assist in the payment of legal fees and administrative costs, the actual admin costs incurred by the county in connection with the drafting, negotiation, and authorization of this agreement, with such amount not to exceed 50% of the actual administrative costs. Following the county's approval of this agreement, the developer will agree to remit to payment to the county within 30 days with evidence from the county of such costs. The county and the developer acknowledge that the developer previously paid 50% of the actual admin costs incurred by the county in connection with the original agreement.
Okay, and that matches the execution copy that's in the packet. So
Okay.
it's just, I wanted to make sure everybody was on the same page.
The one that's on, yeah.
All right, so going on.
So page 6. Then there were dates on page 6 in paragraph 2. Paragraph 3, And paragraph 5 was, or paragraph 2 and 3 were for dates. Paragraph 5 was another part where the LMI percentage had changed. I wanted to make sure we pointed out. And that's the completion of the date changes.
That's your recommendation, Larry?
Yes.
Yours too, right, Mark?
Yes.
I'll move that for you, Susan.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Wickman, second by Shea to sign the amended development agreement with JJHP LLC. Additional discussion? All those in favor?
We need.
Oh, roll call. It's a resolution?
Chairman Miller,
Aye.
Supervisors Bell,
Aye.
Wickman,
Aye.
Shea,
Aye.
and Jorgensen.
Aye. Mark, if you hear anything from Rural Water, please let us know, would you?
I did receive a call, just
You did?
as the meeting fired up, so I stepped out to take it. Long story short, as best as I can do, he had to amend the route. They were unable to obtain easements on either side of 240th Street at the intersection of Bergen, so they've pulled the southern leg back to 250th Street instead. They're going to turn off Bergen on 250th. They've got 2 of the 3 easements they need there secured. He believes they are still on path to have substantial completion by the end of 2024. However, any further delay may result in him needing to ask for, he said, minor adjustment to the timeline, 30 days or so. But I asked point blank, so we're making a lot of plans based on this water line happening. Is there any chance this does not happen? He said it's 100% that the project's going through. It's just a matter of securing the easements. They had to, with moving to 250th, they had to redo some work with the archaeological investigations to make sure there was nothing substantial archaeologically along 250th Street that they needed to be aware of. That's now with SHPO, which is a 30-day review process. After that's approved, then they'll go to final engineering and got to put it out for bid.
Awesome.
So,
Thanks, Mark.
I talked to him last week, so.
same update you got?
Yep.
We're hearing the same story.
It's got all funding, everything. We're just waiting back for the indigenous people to check the archaeological study.
Yeah, their plan is to have 3 crews working simultaneously on the construction, kind of at different points where they can all tie in. That's their way to meet the deadline, since they've kind of taken longer than expected on the easement agreements.
So if substantial completion is the end of 2024, when do they expect to make some
Yeah, substantial
plans?
completion is defined as being ready to connect to our interior water line infrastructure in the development and have water flow. So at that point, they as long as they stay on track, they're not going to be a detriment to our timeline. We've just held off. So the prior development had us having to enact the first phase of our TIF in 2025 based on their project timeline. It wasn't realistic for us to have a good amount of homes built by that time frame, which is why we asked for the 2-year, pushback on each date, which we appreciate you agreeing to. But hopefully, as long as no major change in their agenda and timeline, we shouldn't have any change in ours either. And we hope to be constructing the development and getting going, because we've been sitting on it a lot longer than we planned to.
Are you done with dirt work down there?
We're largely done. There's a few piles to move around or move off-site. It depends if an opportunity presents itself to send it elsewhere. If not, we're at a stage we can spread around what we've got left.
Okay.
Get ready to rock, yeah. If we were to go out there, the site's really taking shape. You can see where the cul-de-sacs are gonna be. You can, it's a lot more easy to visualize.
Okay. Well, thank you, Matt, Pam, Mark.
Thank you.
All right, committee appointments. I attended the ISAC Leadership University a couple of days last week in Des Moines. Anybody else have anything they want to report?
VA, and then, it was at the, we had some bicycle stuff. Working them trails.
Yeah, I was at the VA too, and also I attended the organizational board meeting for the Southwest Iowa Juvenile Detention Center. There was a line item that came up with the sheriff's department budget last time we talked, having to do with cost for juvenile detention in the jail. I am told that money is paid by the other counties, if they're not Potawatomi County residents, that paid by the other counties directly to the county. So it doesn't go to the jail or the sheriff's office. It goes directly to us. So somewhere in that budget, there's a line item of those payments. I don't know where it's at.
Do you get something, Melvin?
Pardon me?
Do you get something from other counties then?
No, that would have just been a,
Pardon?
that would have just been a payment probably to the treasurer for that kid that was,
For how long
they
is
couldn't,
it?
they couldn't hold him at the detention center. Maybe he was older or something, and then they had to hold him at the jail. And so then that cost goes to the county of the kid's residence.
Right.
But it wouldn't come through the auditor's office. It'd go, money would go into the general fund at the treasurer's office.
It goes into our general fund?
Yeah, any of those receipts all would go into the general fund.
Do they bill? Do they bill or who does the billing?
I'm guessing that the detention center would bill the sheriff. But the money is paid by that particular county. It's not paid by the detention center.
Right.
Yeah, the detention center doesn't pay for that.
Right.
But I'm guessing the sheriff might have a line item, revenue line item showing, that revenue, whether he does or not, I don't know.
They pay a certain percentage in the 28E because we all pay that.
The board pays that
Right.
percentage. We've always
That's
been
what I'm
around
saying.
70%.
We're 70%?
Well, it historically was always around 70. I mean, it might be high 60s now, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
Depends on how many kids they got there. Might have to get a report from the detention center someday, what's going on.
I don't think we've ever gotten one.
No,
Well,
other than no, we never did from them, but just from the reports that Tim or Jeff or when I used to be on it, we just never. But the other board members probably weren't aware of what goes on down there.
I haven't been.
Mitch will look into it for us, find out what those.
Scott or Tim, anything you want to report? All right. Public.
Snow shoveling.
Snow shoveling, lots of that. Public comments. Did anybody sign up for public comments?
No.
All right, rocking on.
All right, so now we're moving into the study session for ordinance number 2023-05 to amend chapter